Hi, I'm Ken Sherman, Senior Editor here at CNET.com. Today we're going to take a first look at the Samsung SGH-A777. This is a new phone for AT&T service. I like to call this phone one of the members of the Boeing series in the sense that Samsung has an A707, 717, 727, 737, so a little geeky I know, but I like to name it that. It has a pretty standard design as far as the series goes in most cases. It is a slider phone. It has a thin profile. Samsung has pumped these out by the dozen, so really a lot of these kind of phones, 3G mid-range features, not a whole lot to distinguish it from its counterparts. Had decent sound quality, decent performance, and functional features, so really not a whole lot different except for maybe its color scheme. Comes in the blue that you see here, also comes in red, doesn't come in that standard black or silver that we're so used to seeing from Samsung in many cases. Here on the front is the main display. It is pretty bright and colorful, shows graphics pretty well. Found it a little small for the phone size, thought it could be just a tiny bit bigger, but overall menus are easy to use, easy to navigate, and you can change the text size, so it should be fine for most people. One thing we didn't like is the navigation array. There are some navigation controls here, of course. There is a toggle with a central OK button, a couple of soft keys. The soft keys were kind of thin, but overall pretty tactile and easy to use. One thing I didn't like though is there weren't enough keys here on the outside of the slider face. There's no talk and in key, there's no clear button, so that means that you're going to have a hard time using the back or clear button when you're scrolling through the menus. Also, I like being able to make calls using my recent calls list or maybe a contacts menu without opening the phone, and you can't do that. You will have to open the phone to see those. They're right here. So really prefer to have more controls here on the front face. Keypad buttons also weren't the greatest. They are very flush, they are very slick, so dialing and texting wasn't a problem most of the time, but you might want to give it a test drive first because it did take a little getting used to. Also, it's possible to dial by feel. There is a bright backlighting though, so you can dial in dim situations. Down here is the combination wired headset port and charger jack. Of course, it is a proprietary connection and you can only use one peripheral at a time, typical for Samsung in a lot of ways. Here on this side there is a button for the music player. There's also a button that opens a secondary shortcut menu on the display and the microSD card slot. Here in the back there is the camera lens and the self-portrait mirror. It is in the back of the slider, so you will need to have the phone open to take a photo. It's in a decent location though. I didn't have any problems with trying to put my finger there. Also there is a little bit of a pattern back here, just adds a little sparkle to the phone. There is no flash. Typically we like flash, especially on a megapixel camera phone, so you will have to have enough light to take any kind of photo. It is a 3G phone, so you will find cellular video, you will find AT&T mobile music, so you can download music through a series of partners, you can get the streaming video on the phone. Overall performance is pretty good. There's also stereo Bluetooth, personal organizer features, so most of the things you'd expect on a phone of this caliber. But like I said before, just not a lot to distinguish it from its counterparts. I'm Ken Sherman and this is the Samsung SGH-A777.